Welcome in, all new Wednesday live chat for this week's U.S. Open. This time is yours. Clearly, I'm in the media center. I'm here at LACC. I'll do my best to kind of limit some of the background noise or anything else that might be happening. I'm working off the laptop, so bear with me. We'll go through as many of these questions as possible and kind of give the best insight that I can for what I've seen this week. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. Brandon says, debating two things, Rose or Scott, and then one of Rogers, Putnam, Cole, and Hadwin to fill it out. So a couple of items here. So first off, this is my site, RickRunGood.com. Should probably subscribe to it all. Everything you see is going to be from my website right here. Slightly prefer Justin Rose to Adam Scott. He's just been playing great golf. It's fairly close. I think it's like 60-40. You get an experienced golfer at a major championship where things are probably going to be pretty difficult. I don't mind Adam Scott, but I think Rosie is probably the better option here. And then as far as the other ones, I probably go one Eric Cole, two Andrew Putnam. What Eric Cole has been up to is pretty unbelievable stuff here. So you've got the T6 at the Canadian Open, the T24 at the Memorial, but go back further than that. Played well at the PGA Championship, got off to a hot start, didn't fade after kind of getting a bad, not a weather draw, but they delayed play on Thursday. He had to come back out and start on number 6, was still able to kind of bounce back and play well. The tee to green metrics are essentially phenomenal for Eric Cole, and he's just kind of always in the mix. So I'd probably go in those directions. Lincoln says, fill our brains with what you've learned on site. That would probably take a couple of hours. I think that golf course wise, it's going to be a really interesting setup. I think on the fair to unfair spectrum, it's probably a little bit unfair. I'm talking a little bit, like just a tiny bit below average, where you can hit some good shots and kind of be punished for it. Which is not necessarily the most fair thing in the world. But there is just a ton of holes that I think are going to be really fun, 6 being one of them. This par for that, this tree right here is blocking the green. There's actually a tree trunk over here on the right that a lot of guys are going to hit 3 wood to. I think that's a fascinating hole. There's so many good and fascinating holes out here. I don't think you have to be particularly long. The fairways are going to be firm enough where the short guys who are playing in position are going to have a chance at this, but you're going to have elite approach play. Your around the green play is going to have to be solid. I probably prefer some more die speed putters as opposed to aggressive putters because of the speeds of these greens, and being above the hole is just going to be pretty cooked. And then patience, right? Just patience is going to be absolutely key. So we can talk more in depth about that, but that's kind of the 30,000 foot view of what I got here. Tom says, could you explain how strokes gained stats are formulated and how is it determined to be a strokes gained or loss on a shot or a putt? So this could also probably be a couple hours long, but in theory, so like strokes gained total, just saying if you you shoot a 68 and the field average is 70, you gained 2 strokes to the field. You are better than the field by 2 strokes. On a hole by hole basis, you have to look at the scoring average for the hole. So let's say a hole plays at 4.5 on average and you make a 4, you gained a half a stroke on the field. Now, within that hole, all of that gets broken down. So what you use are essentially just like tons of baseline stats, where if you look at the PGA Tour averages and say, an 8-foot putt is a 50-50 proposition. So that means if you make it, you'll gain a half a stroke to the field. If you miss it, you'll essentially lose a half a stroke to the field because it'll take you 2 putts from there when the average is 1.5 putts. So knowing that, the idea being that you can then separate or break down the strokes gain metrics into off the tee, approach, around the green, and putting. So if you dink one off the tee and it goes 5 yards, and then you hit a 250-yard shot to 2 inches, like you are obviously going to lose off the tee and you are going to gain on approach because those are well on the extremes of what the baseline outcome was. So very, very high overview of that, but good question. Do you think the barbell strategy is in play this week, and who below $7,200 is the best option? So when I think of the barbell strategy, Matt, I think there's kind of 2 different things here. And the barbell strategy being that you want to be on the 2 ends of things, like a barbell, like you're doing a bench press, right? This is often used in terms of ownership and how you want to construct your lineup. So you would have essentially 3 guys who are highly owned, 20% or more, something like that, and 3 guys that are very low owned. You do not want to live in the middle. You don't want 6 guys that are 16% owned, because it doesn't really give you leverage on any one specific golfer. So this barbell strategy is usually talked about in terms of ownership. I don't know if that's what Matt is referring to. He might be referring to salary here, but $7,200 or below, there's a couple of good options here. I think Mito Pereira, he's going to be the most popular, and for good reason. He's been the 4th best ball striker in the first 2 major championships of the year. I think Denny McCarthy at 10-2 is certainly viable, or excuse me, at 7,200 is viable. 10.2 projected ownership, and then Russell Henley, and they're going to be popular for a reason. If you wanted to make a pivot off of those guys, we already talked about Eric Cole, but Emiliano Grillo's here. I walked with Emiliano. He was playing with Patrick Reed and somebody else that I cannot remember. And he was hitting it great. He always hits it great, right? And he seemed to be picking up the sight lines of this golf course a lot quicker than some of the other guys out here. So I don't mind Emiliano in that spot. Ownership update. Okay. So this is, again, the cheat sheet, RickRunGood.com. It's projected ownership at this point on a Wednesday, and we could talk through what the popular guys are, what the pivots are going to be. So 1, it appears that Scotty Scheffler, 20. I just lost my spot in the comments, guys. Sorry. Let me just get back here. Okay, I think I'm good. Scotty Scheffler, 22% ownership. So if you're looking for the low owns guy in the 10K range, it's likely to be Patrick Cantlay, which is pretty crazy because his last 4 major championships were basically his best 4 major championships. He's been one of the better ball strikers in the world, dating back to, last 36 rounds, basically dating back to the start of the year. So there's your pivot to Patrick Cantlay. The 9K range, you're getting a lot of pretty much spread out, but I guess Xander's catching a lot of it at the top, with Colin Morikawa being your pivot. Obviously, there are concerns around the back spasms, but I'm not as concerned about that because realistically, spasms are hard to predict by nature, right? Like that's how they work. So I can't imagine going in here and saying, oh, he's definitely going to have back spasms, or he's definitely not going to have back. Like that's impossible to predict. So getting him at half the ownership of Xander is pretty interesting. The 8K range, you're seeing a lot of low owned guys. This is where a lot of the big events, a lot of the big tournaments will probably be won and lost, right? You're getting basically everybody in single digits outside of Terrell Hatton, which means an $8,700 Justin Thomas, the cheapest he's ever been. Interesting. I don't mind Sung Jae. He hasn't played as well recently, but long-term skill set, top notch. Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Bryson, Adam Scott, Ricky Fowler, all pretty popular in that 7K range. Your pivots there, the ones that I think I'm most interested in, Corey Connors, Joaquin Niemann, I think are interesting. If I was really feeling freaky, I'd consider Sahith. I'm not sure this is the greatest spot for him, but at a third of the ownership of Ricky Fowler, he does some good things that I like. It would be pretty hard to pass up. And then below that, you get Mito at 14%, $7,200, and that's basically the last guy that's garnering a ton of ownership there. Sorry, let me just find my spot here. Dunkin' Coffee for the win. Yeah, baby. Can we get a look at Abe answer how important around the green will be this week? Yeah, so I'll pull up Abe's stat profile, and you're not going to get a lot of in-depth stuff here because obviously he's been playing on live, so you're just kind of getting strokes gained total, which have not been good. He was nearly dead last in Singapore, nearly dead last in DC, missed the cut to PGA Championship, was below average at Tulsa for live. It's not a particularly great stat profile. How important is around the green going to be? I think it's going to be very important, right? So I was walking around there with a lot of different guys yesterday, some guys that bomb it, some guys that don't. There's a lot of holes that I think scoring will be fine. I think you will be able to score. I think there are birdies out there. The problem is going to be there's like doubles out there too, a lot of them. And around the greens, especially if you are short-sided, you're kind of screwed, especially with that thick rough. So I think there's actually 2 things here. I think your strokes gained approach numbers are inherently more tied to your driving ability this week than a lot of other weeks, because if you're in the right position, you get a much easier shot than if you are out of position off the tee. Additionally, I think your around the green play is much more tied to your approach play this week than a lot of other weeks. There are good misses around the green and there are bad misses around the green, and those bad ones are horrible. The good ones are still not great, but you're going to have at least a little bit of a chance. So listen, it's a major championship. It's USGA setup. It's LACC. It's the North Course. It's gonna be pretty tough. It's gonna be pretty demanding. But I think that fairways and greens, baby, fairways and greens. Rick, going to be out at LACC on Saturday. Favorite spots to watch the golf. Also, second place in the one and done leaning homer, but also have Fitz and Cam Smith, DJ available. Thoughts? Okay, so I actually don't think this is like a super great setup for spectators. There's not a lot of spots to sit and see multiple holes, which is what I would normally like. I would say your best options are the hillside at 6. So you can watch how guys play 6 there. That'll be pretty interesting. Just where are they going to take it? What kind of trouble are they going to get in? You're going to see a little bit of everything at 6. And there was also one yesterday. Where was I that I was like, this might be a decent spot? 10, 11. Oh, the hillside of 11. Which is that long par 3 down the hill. It's like 300 yards. It's actually, I probably can just show you this. So this is from the USGA's website. So if you're on, so this is 6 right here. So if you can get to like the hill over here on the left, it's like between 5 fairway and 6 fairway, and kind of get down here, you'll be able to see the green and have a look at this. It'll be pretty cool. And then 11, I don't know how quickly I can get to 11. Here we go. There's the spectators, the ropes are over here on the left-hand side, and you can watch these balls funnel down and onto this green. This is a pretty good spot to watch too. And then if you want, you can turn around and watch them tee off on 12. There's not a ton of great places, admittedly, but those are a couple of good ones. Second place in one and done, leaning homer, but also have Fitz, Cam Smith, DJ. I'd probably roll out Fitz here, to be honest with you. I was with him for a couple of holes yesterday. I've never seen a guy so efficiently consume data in a practice round. They were doing such an elite job, which, as you can imagine, I mean, it was impressive to see. And it's been kind of a weirdish year. It's the kind of like was it a neck injury, and then just like good play, bad play. But I thought he looked pretty good yesterday. Can we see the Office Football Pool one and done ownership? Yeah. So this is officefootballpool.com. They have site-wide ownership projections, or site-wide pick selections for one and done. Brooks Koepka, by far and away the most popular golfer in one and done this week, over 30%. If you haven't used him, you're using him here essentially. Cam Smith popular as well. I'm not as excited about that. I think if you get those big misses off the tee from Cam Smith, he's kind of in trouble around this place. Scotty Scheffler 11%. That's interesting. I did use Scotty in a couple of spots because I think he's only like 23. I think only like 23% of the industry has him available. So it's kind of like if you have not used Scotty at this point, you can use him here, and most people don't have him, and most people ahead of you are probably not going to have him available because they would have taken advantage of it. So those are the only 3 guys over 10K or over 10%. You look at like Patrick Cantlay, 3.5%. That's interesting. What would you be saving Patrick Cantlay for, right? You didn't use him at the Memorial. You could save him for a playoff event. Spieth, same thing. You could save him for possibly the Open Championship, but like where else are you going to use him? So yeah, there's some pretty good options this week. Will this course be more like Memorial or Augusta? It'll be like Augusta in undulation and flat lies, but it'll be like thick, rough, and difficulty closer to Memorial. Who has a better week? Eric Cole, Carson Young, or Dylan Wu? Those are like 3 of my favorites, but I think Eric Cole is probably one of them. Can you do a deep dive on Austin Eckroat? Excuse me. Sorry, guys. For a second. So here's Austin Eckroat, who's been playing great golf, and we've been tracking him for quite a bit. What you're noticing about his play now compared to previous years, and I guess I should show you my screen, is that look at this driving of the golf ball, right? 6 straight events, which is gain strokes off the tee, 4 in a row on approach. Tee to green numbers are great. He can get the putter is a big question mark, right? So he loses 7.5 at Quail Hollow and gains 7 in his next start the following week at the Byron Nelson. I mean, that's a 14 stroke difference between just 1 week of strokes gained putting numbers. So that's a little bit concerning. So as long as we don't catch him on the down, but I will say that is by far his worst putting week was at Wells Fargo. He's generally a pretty good putter. So I think he's starting to figure out the status of his game. Hey, buddy. That was Keith Stewart's walking by. So that's pretty good here. Neiman and McCarthy, I'm probably still on Denny here. Not only is it the great play, but it is what he has done in these elevated events, Ken. You've got obviously the runner finished the Memorial, but a T8 at Quail Hollow, T19 at Valspar, T13 at the Player. I mean, it's just he played well at Riviera. I think it's still Denny here. Let's check in on KH Lee here for Sam. So KH Lee. And I'll see if they're running the tee times out for practice groups. Munoz, Neiman, Nito at 11:42. Wyndham, Clark, and Luke listed 11:31. That's Bombers. I might have to check that out. Trying to see what's going off here at like 9. So when we get out of here, I can go out and follow these guys and then kind of report back. 9:30. Denny's going out at 9:30. A couple of Canadians at 9:52. I'll keep an eye out for that. Here's Cage Lee. Loses 5.5 strokes at the Memorial, which is one of his worst approach weeks of the year. So you got to think that that's going to bounce back a little bit. The putter can be all over the place. It's fine. Like a 5.5 out of 10. He's gotten better at major championships in his career. His first 5, he missed the cut in all of them. I think it's fine. Nothing I'm gonna run to here. I can get a boost on Rory at 19-1. Is that too good to pass up? Listen, it's always really hard, right? I walked with Rory for the majority of the front 9 yesterday. He was by himself. It was quiet. He was the first guy out, and he hit every shot, right? I mean, he hit it into the perfect spot on 6. He dialed it up to 5 feet on 7, which is an insane shot. He hit the green in 2 on 8. He hit the green on 9. He just he hit all the shots. No surprise that Rory McIlroy has all the shots. I think it is noteworthy that he didn't do a presser this week. It's kind of all golf. And I cannot imagine a scenario in which 19-1 Rory McIlroy, which is implying he's going to win 5% of the time for a guy who has historically won 10% in his career. I can't imagine that's a bad thing. Season-long question. I have to bench 2. Wow, your team's pretty good. You have to bench 2 of Fleetwood, Day, Rose, Fowler, and Clark. That is a great problem to have. I guess you should bench Day and Fowler or Clark. It's a great problem to have. Pick 2 guys you don't like. They're all very good. 25th in one and done. I have. Should I roll Xander or save him for Travelers? I don't think you should play Cam or Bryson this week. Okay, let's talk about Bryson real quick, because I'm actually long-term more bullish on Bryson than I've probably been in a while. He's playing a lot better. The driving numbers are there. I'm not sure this is a great spot for him. So there's 2 things about this place. Not a lot of even lies, right? It's very much like Augusta, very much kind of like Kapalua in that way, where there's not a lot of even lies. The other problem is the really awkward stuff around the greens. The single length clubs have always given Bryson issues on uneven lies, and I worry about that. The other thing is, if you do miss, the bigger the miss here, the worse it is, which is not necessarily the case like it was at Oak Hill. Oak Hill 1 yard and 20 yards was the same thing. 1 yard and 20 yards here, big difference. So that worries me about Bryson. So I'd probably save him. The problem is you can only save him for the Open Championship. I still don't think it's Bryson here. You could definitely save Cam for the Open. You could definitely use Homa down the road. If I were you, I would play Xander. Let's see what else we have here. I'm in third with all live guys and Spieth available. I'm between Koepka and Spieth. Who should I save for the Open? You should save Spieth for the Open. This is a pretty Open Championship-ish USGA setup as far as it could possibly get. So I do think there is going to be a lot of good stuff for Spieth out there this week. But if your options are Koepka or Spieth, you should just save Spieth for the Open and use Koepka here. This says, good morning, Rick. Trust you're enjoying the week very much so. Caught the usual Monday show in the first cut for the first time. I appreciate it. Let's see what else we have here. Midday drinking game. Take a shot for every time Rick says hemorrhage. Yes, I might get there soon. So get your drinks ready. Hey, Rick, can we see strokes gain distribution for the last 52 rounds? Yeah. So if you go to the power rankings here and you go to strokes gain distribution, last 52 rounds, we'll put a little bit of a minimum in here. Like you got to have at least 36 rounds. We'll get rid of the senior tour rounds. We'll get rid of the Asian tour rounds. Best players in terms of gaining strokes to the field, 4 or more strokes to the field. There's only 2 guys over 30%. No surprise that they're Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm. A couple more value options would be Xander, J-Day, Patrick Cantlay, Sung Jae Im. Adrian Moronk is on this list as well. He's like 7th or 8th. And then Denny McCarthy, believe it or not. Denny gains 4 to the field a lot. but compared to his peers, does not gain as much. Like when Denny plays well, he plays really well, right? So you'll see this here. He doesn't gain 1 or more strokes of the field as often as these other guys, 2 or more, or 3 or more, but 4 or more he does, 5 or more he doesn't. But like when he plays well, he plays really well. Flip it over, look at the 5+ guys. It's going to be a lot of the same names. Guys that jump into the mix here as well would be like Victor Hovland, Chris Kirk, believe it or not. Again, Chris Kirk is a really good example here. You know, Chris Kirk only gains to the field 55% of the time to, you know, Tyrrell Hatton's 78%, but they both have the same rate of gaining 5 to the field. So that is like kind of a high risk, high ceiling, low floor situation for Chris Kirk. Well, Tyrrell Hatton is like your high ceiling, high floor type of guy, at least relative. Has the model been updated to include the bump for Adam Hadwin Revenge Week? Yeah, I saw him out there today. Start with who to play in the 10K range. Love them all. What are your thoughts? Yeah, that's kind of the problem, right? I mean, they're 10K guys for a reason. In a vacuum, I think if you like, I've been very much on Scotty Scheffler for a long time. I'm happy to be there. He played with Sam Burns and Xander on Monday, and he was running circles around those guys from tee to green. Was he putting well? No. I don't think it can get worse, right? He loses 8 strokes putting at the Memorial. I don't think it can get worse than that. So still finished 3rd. In a vacuum, I think Scotty's the best player here. If I were making lineups with everything in mind, I have no problem going to Cantlay here at 11%, half the ownership of Scotty. You know, I kind of glossed over it earlier, but Patrick Cantlay is literally like the 2nd or 3rd best player in the field. I mean, here I saw 52 rounds in here over the last 52 rounds. You know, you go to 36 rounds and lower the minimum down here to like 24, and you go to ball strikers. I bet you he's 2nd behind Scotty Scheffler. Well, hold on. I got to get some live round because we got to get just the measured rounds here. So let's just do the PGA rounds. Yeah, Scheffler Cantlay, right? So it's been phenomenal. The argument about his major championship record, I get. It's not great, but look at his last 4 majors. He's got like 3 top 15 finishes. He got 3 top 14 finishes, including it. I mean, this is the guy you want to pivot off of. Yes, I've gotten eyes on DJ. I do not particularly love his short game around here. I didn't particularly love the way his ball striking numbers and short game numbers worked out at Oak Hill. He got off to a hot start. He was riding a hot putter, and there was a lot of regression after that. The thing with DJ, this golf course is going to require so much around the green stuff. And again, it's not like it doesn't feel as traditional of a USGA setup as a lot of other places. So I am like cautiously optimistic, but very cautiously optimistic on Dustin Johnson. Happy US Open Eve, Rick. Just saw your tweet about signing for the fans. When did you sign your first fan autograph, and how did that make you feel? So, Garrett, I will let you all in on a little secret. I was doing a bit there. So I know the guy who tweeted that was doing a bit. I know him. He's a buddy of mine. So he was not actually nervous to see me. So I don't think I have signed an autograph. And that is smart. No one wants nor needs mine, but that was a little bit of a bit. So I do a lot of photos and stuff, but I was doing a bit there with the autograph stuff. How does Colin Morikawa's look? Back good. I only saw him for a couple holes yesterday. What you will notice is he is essentially squatting down, kind of to put his tee in the ground. Which at first I was like, that's super weird. I don't know why he's doing that. He's going off at 10:03. I just see him on the board right now. I'll try to go out there after this and see what he's up to. But no, he looked good. I mean, listen, I saw him hit 5 or 6 full swings in a practice round. Yeah, he didn't see. I mean, listen, I think the thing is back spasms are not. They're going to pop up out of nowhere. They're going to kind of come and go. They're going to be hard to predict. So when you're feeling good, you're feeling good, and then it just comes out of nowhere. So I'm happy to play it. I thought he looked good. Game looked sharp. No problems. Bryson, Rose, Fowlers, Connors, Clark. How would you rank them? Who is most likely to win and who's most likely to miss the cut? Most likely to win. See, this is like, I don't think it's Connors. I don't think it's Clark. It's probably Rose at this point, right? So it's probably Rose. As much as I don't like Bryson, like if he does put it together, he's got the upside to win it. So it's to win, it's probably like Rose, Bryson, Fowler, Connors, Clark. But I ranked them just in general, probably Rose, Clark, Connors, Fowler, Bryson, if that makes sense. Call it the DFS preview. Oh, we talked about those guys. So I'm going to skip that one because you've already gotten that answer. Slightly out of the one and done money. Looking at Scotty, Spieth, Brooks, or Cam. If you were slightly outside the money, you should probably just go with Brooks or Scotty. Haven't heard much of Keegan. Can you do a deep dive? Sure. So let's do Keegan here. What do we know about Keegan Bradley? What do we find about Keegan Bradley? Yeah, a little bit concerning, I suppose, because what you want to see out of Keegan is this, right? You want to see the elite ball striking, and then whatever doesn't really matter with the putter. But if you can find some putting gains, that's great. So we've got basically a below average golfer dating back to the match play. At least, excuse me, in terms of approach play. He has actually been salvaging some of these finishes with the short game, which is crazy to say, but he's gained in 5 straight, and he's gained multiple digits in 5 straight. I suppose you could make the argument, and I tend to like this argument as well, that he just needs to get back to the best part of his game. If he gets back to the best part of his game, keeps the rest of it, that's a very, very good combination. Let's look at his major championship record as of late. Yeah, pretty darn good, right? 7th at last year's US Open, missed the cut at the Open Championship, and then 2 top 30s at the Masters and the PGA Championship. I would say this is a decent buy low spot. But if he goes out and does this again, where he loses 2 strokes on approach, like he's just kind of like he's not going to he'll finish T40 or whatever. But we just need him to get back to being an above average approach player. And I think we'll be fine. McCarthy or Siwoo? I would probably go with Denny there. Pretty far back in a large one and done. I was going to go with a live guy, but Brooks and Cam are super highly owned. Yep. Should I just go with Bryson, Neiman, or do I go with low owned Spieth, Rory? In those scenarios, I would probably just go low owned Spieth or Rory. I think that Bryson's a lot of risk, and Neiman is like, does he have the upside to win it? I don't know. I would probably go Spieth or Rory. Any thoughts on adding a feature to show probability of a player makes it into an optimal lineup, similar to my March Madness? Yes, lots of thoughts. Just have to kind of put it into practice here. Are you diving deep or keeping it simple for your US Open card? Okay, so as mentioned, this is my card. You should bet whoever you want for whatever reasons that you want. I stared long and hard at Scotty Scheffler and almost pulled the trigger. But what I opted to do here was keep it pretty tight as far as outrights go. Victor, I'm always going to bet, so I don't generally count that, but this is a good week for him anyway. So my card is Cantlay, Xander, Spieth. Cantlay, Xander, Spieth, and then I add Victor as friends and family or whatever, right? So that's it. I think there's a really good chance that one of the guys breaks through, gets their first win. I'm a little bit nervous about it. I don't feel super great. I don't feel super great not being on Scotty. I don't feel super great about seeing like a John Rahm 11-1 out there, not being a part of it. I'm a little bit nervous. I do like the idea of I like what Russell Henley brings. I like what Denny McCarthy brings. Do I think they're actually going to win it? Probably not. I like what Mito brings. Is he going to win it? Probably not. I almost considered Justin Thomas or Tony Finau further down the board, but I'm going to go to battle with my guys here, and I went to battle with those. We already talked about Morikawa a bit. Let's talk about Finau. It's been kind of strange, right? For a guy who plays a lot, it doesn't feel like he's played a lot. And here's his stat profile. And you've got a very good putter long-term who is hemorrhaging strokes with the flat stick right now, losing basically 10 strokes putting in his last 2 events. He's lost multiple strokes putting in 4 of his last 5. This is really, really concerning. Now, it's been 3 weeks since he's played. Has he gotten time to get right and go back home and work on some things? I would say generally yes. He's going out at 11:20 with Preston Summerhays, very comfortable little practice round pairing. I'm pretty bullish on Tony. I think this is a decent setup for him. No one's talking about him, and I've got him at 12% ownership while Terrell Hatton's at 20. and this is the gap, like this. I mean, I know it doesn't work like this, but you could essentially get Finau and Justin Thomas for the same ownership that Tony Finau is right now. So I think that's pretty interesting. Do you think there is a benefit to being an early guy with wet rough, wet greens? Okay, so it is definitely different in the mornings, right? You know, you have that marine layer. It kind of creates like a little bit of a dew, a little bit of soft conditions. It's definitely easier in the mornings. And then as the sun comes out and it bakes out a little bit, you start getting that thud off of the greens. Now, what I have heard they are going to do, and I don't know if we're going to be able to confirm this or not, is my understanding is that they are going to water these greens in between the waves. Morning wave, water, afternoon wave, and do that Thursday and Friday. So it might not be as big of a difference where they haven't been doing that on practice round days. So I would lean towards there's probably not going to be that big of an advantage, but it's kind of tough to say. Thoughts on Cam Young this week? I think my thoughts on Cam Young are generally the same as they have been the last couple of weeks. This is a stat profile that is concerning. Drives it great, hemorrhages, strokes with the putter, which is uncharacteristic, or at least when he was playing his best was uncharacteristic. And we're not even seeing that elite approach play anymore. This is a concerning stat profile. And I'm going to need to see a step in the right direction before I get a pretty big investment on my end. Now that you've been on the last due course, okay, so let's do this. So Chris is kind of talking about like a model. So here's the custom model, RickRunGood.com. I will load what I did on Monday, but what did I call it? Did I call it Monday? Yeah. But I'll tinker from there. So let me just see what I did here. Let's start off the tee. I did accuracy for 10. Okay, it's not bad. Approach for opportunities gained for 5. And then I'm sure I did some type of okay. So off the tee 36. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Let me go to the putting stats. And I think I want to do this. I want to do 5 on approach putt performance, 5 on fast greens. I'll take down my strokes gained putting here in last 36 to 5 because I still got to get another 5 out of here. I'll lower my approach 15, so lower that from 5. What I will also do is I will get 10 on bogey avoidance. I think that's going to be a little bit more important this week, and I will take it off of I'll take it off opportunities gained, and I will take it off of I need to find 5 somewhere. Strokes gained hard. What does this look like? Scotty number 1, Spieth 2, Rom 3, Hatton 4, Cantlay 5. Look, I mean, like Eric Cole's 11th, right? Eric Cole $7,000 is 11th. That's crazy. Justin Rose 77 is 6th. Tommy Fleetwood 7,900 10th. And I mean, remember the pricing came out early, and Fleetwood and Connors played well in Canada, or excuse me, Fleetwood and Rose played well in Canada. Eric Cole, man, I love that guy. Love him in a big way. Denny McCarthy, 7,200, 18th on my list. Tony Finau gets a big bump, 7th. He's 8,800. So, yeah, man, that's probably what I would do. I think it's I think this is a accuracy, dialed iron, all the short game shots. Patient, like I wish there was like a strokes gained patience, right? These are gonna be long rounds, by the way, very long rounds. It's gonna be a long week. What are the best one and done options if you're leading your pool? If you're leading your pool, Brooks DJ probably the best. you could go Cam Smith because he's going to be popular, only because he's going to be popular. I don't really like him as a play in general, but I think if he's going to be popular, you can just kind of play the consensus pick there. But I think if you have Brooks available, that would be the play to go. I kind of skipped over Neiman earlier because I think it was Neiman versus McCarthy, and I liked Denny a little bit more. But Neiman, he's played well at Riviera. He is longer than you think. He is a great driver of the golf ball. He can get hot with the putter. We don't have the advanced stats that we do on PGA Tour. We don't have those on Live, but like I think I said this on Monday's show. Like Neiman is a pretty viable option for this week. This says Adam Jenkins due to win a golf tournament. Why not this week? Tell you what, he's been playing great golf. I think this is the baby swag, right? So he comes back. He finishes second at the Charles Schwab, T7 at the Memorial. These are good stats. I think he's a very good kind of sleeper option. Might play well. I just do not think he is going to win this golf tournament. Hey Rick, can you do a deep dive into why my wife left me? How was the communication? Is it because you're asking strangers for relationship advice? Do you think that you could have devoted more time to being a team? Let me know. We can dive into that a little bit further. I'm hearing conflicting reports on conditions on the course. Some are saying softer conditions while some are saying firm and fast. Which is the course leaning to? I don't know who's saying what, but I'll just tell you what I've seen. Definitely softer in the morning, as we know. But I mean, even on Monday afternoon, these balls that are landing in the fairway off of tee shots are kicking up dust, right? Like it's cut short. The ball is rolling. It is firmer than the average PGA Tour event. Is it like a lightning fast and fire US Open venue? No, but like it is definitely firm enough and rolling enough for the shorter guys to be in play here. Oh, congrats on 26,000 subs. Thank you, Anthony. Actually, which reminds me, first off, thank you very much. It is crazy that a data-driven golf-specific YouTube channel has 26,000 subscribers. That's actually insane. I will also say half of you are not even subscribed. So there might be like 20,000 people who watch this week and 10,000 of you are. We could go from 26,000 to 36,000 subscribers immediately if everyone just clicked the subscribe button, and I could continue to do more stuff, get to these events more often. Like, I appreciate it. Just hit the subscribe. 43% of you are not subscribed. Hideki or Hatton? Probably still Hatton. I like Hideki this week though, but I think it's probably still Hatton. Hatton's been unbelievable. All right, I'm starting to get some good some repeat questions, which is good because we're 38 minutes in. And okay, so what do you anticipate the winning score to be? So Grant says he thinks markets are offering it around 8 under, and I think it's closer to 12 under is what Grant says. I asked a couple caddies yesterday because that was so what I did. I sent out a tweet and I said, hey, I'm en route to LACC. Like, what can I find out for you today? It was really valuable. I actually took some notes and I wrote down 6 of the common or good questions that I thought I could find out for yesterday. It was like, oh, wait, where are the spectator spots, or what's the winning score going to be, or what are the guys hitting off the tee, stuff like that. So one of the questions was, what's the winning score going to be? Can you ask some caddies? So I asked some caddies. A consensus that they were telling me was like 6 to 8. I think it's like 4 under. I think you shoot 469s, you win, kind of deal. I think it'll get more difficult as the week goes on. There's definitely some doubles out there. There's a little bit of randomness. I think it might be a little bit hard to extend. Somebody, I would like 4 under right. Have you seen anything out of the bunkers? Are players able to spin it, or are bunkers pretty dead? No, I mean, bunkers are fine. Relative. Let me show you one here. So one of my, again, favorite holes being 6. This is the bunker on 6 here, where the drivable, the short par 4. Being in this bunker is fine. Getting to this bunker is dead because everything around it is this thick stuff, and it's way thicker than this looks because now it's like wispy and stuff like that. If you're in the bunker, it's fine. If you're here next to the bunker, you're dead. So I think that's kind of the thing, and that's the thing with all of this JLAT is that the areas around the bunker where instead of it bouncing in, it's just like staying in this thick stuff are so horrible but the bunkers themselves are not that bad. Guys are spinning it out of there. Is there anyone in the 6K range getting a lot of ownership? I didn't think so. When we looked at this earlier, I didn't think anybody was. So here, let's just do this. Let's just look at the highest. Yeah, I mean like 3.5%. Adrian Moronk is like the highest projected ownership in the 6K range. So you're pretty good there. Is there a Rick Run Good filter that shows who is good seeing the course for the first time? No, it's not a bad idea. I do wonder how noisy it would be because like it would only be the first time in competition. Like, for example, I think Sahith said he's played LACC 30 times. Like, I'm never going to be able to know that. But, like, everybody would be playing it for the first time in competition this week. So, it's kind of tough. Who are the best die speed putters? No, it's not a stat that I could quantify. But, like, I know he's not in this field, but, like, Bubba Watson has always been a good die speed putter. I actually kind of think of guys that are a bit more on the aggressive side and to be worried about those guys. Like I think Brooks is a very aggressive putter. I think Ricky Fowler's a very aggressive putter. I think Tony Finau's kind of like a die-ish putter. Let me think about that a little bit more. Maybe I can tweet some stuff out. Okay, I've answered a lot of these, which is good. How are we handling the chalk in the 7K range? Okay, let's look at the chalk in the 7K range here. So 7K range, highest projected ownership, Tommy, Ricky, Justin Rose, Bryson. Yeah. So I think there's a couple of options here. You could not go in the 7K range, right? You could go to the 8K range and have your choice of it. If you're in the 7K range, just don't play all of these guys, right? It's maybe you go Rose and Neiman as opposed to Rose and Bryson. Maybe you go Keegan and Bryson instead of Adam Scott and Ricky Fowler, right? I think you just got to be a little bit smart about it. I truly believe whether it's Hideki or Justin Thomas or Sung Jae, all of that leverage in the 8K range is very, very exciting. What does ownership mean? So this is so these are projected ownerships, right? Where before the tournament starts, Mike Cavalonis for RickRunGood.com does the projected ownerships. If you see it on like anywhere else, like sometimes I have it on different areas like of what they're like after the tournament, it's what their ownership was in the largest event on DraftKings. Greetings from Sweden. Oh, thank you. Any love for the 4 Swedes in the field? Norin, Norman, Forstom, or Nigel? I probably butchered those. I saw that Simon is out right now. He had the first tee time. He was like out at 6:45. I'm trying to see the board. He was out like 6:45. Might have to go catch up with him. Vincent Norman, right? That's our guy from OU. Let's see. It's a little bit of a deep dive here. Absolutely mashes the ball. Starting to play a little bit better. He'd probably be my favorite Swede. I know Norin is like the guy with the pedigree, but this is the new age here. Saw on Twitter that Brooks shot a 62 for his practice round. I would be very surprised, one, because I was with him, and well, I'm assuming yesterday, and two, like it's almost impossible to know what a guy shoots on in a practice round, because even if they hit a good drive and a good approach shot, they also don't even putt it out. They just like knock it somewhere else and start practicing their putting to the corners. Like it's almost impossible. I've played this stupid game where you're like, okay, what did he shoot today? It's almost impossible to get an idea of what he actually shot. If Brooks wins and matches Tiger's major win percentage and matches Tiger's 3 U.S. Opens, is he an all-time great? Would be very hard to argue. I think we overstate how important majors are, but because that is already in existence, yes. And he probably already is. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Gary Woodland going out at 10:47 today. Maybe I'll catch up with them. Forgot this was at 11, and I almost had a heart attack, says Steven. When targeting, is it better to factor projections that multiply that percentage by field size to get an approximate number of duplicates when targeting? Is it better to factor projections that multiply that percentage by field size? I'm not sure I understand, Steve. Email me. We'll figure it out together. That is correct. I am wearing my inside the ropes vest so that a security guard does not tackle me. I'm a very good boy. I'm not going to go out there in plain clothes and get robbed. Okay. So, couple items here. If you want to play like the LA game and guys that have played here before and like Max Homa and Colin Morikawa, you kind of have to include Michael Kim in that conversation as well. Finished seventh at Quail Hollow, T6 at the Charles Schwab, played well, good ball strike at the RBC Canadian Open, got into this field late. I like Michael Kim. I also watched Ryan Fox on Monday play with Hideki. Ryan Fox, okay, I don't think you have to be long. I don't think you have to be. But being as long as Ryan Fox will give him a different pathway to the top of the board. And the rest of his game is pretty strong as well. I mean, he picked apart number one like it was child's play. And number one's an easy hole and all that fun stuff. But he is so I didn't see anybody down on one where he was. I mean, and he was hitting some iron in there and it was nothing. It was no problem. And there's going to be a couple spots where if he can keep it in play, you talk about club head speed, being able to extract it from the rough. I like Mr. Fox out there. It says, have fun out there, Rick. You're the hardest working man in the business. Appreciate you. All right, cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. This is a question that I can't answer, Jared. It says, how many players do you use in your pool if you enter 150? This is very much personal preference and how much risk and reward you want to take on. Obviously, the bigger pool, the more spread out, the less risk. If you locked two guys into all 150 lineups, it's going to be a lot smaller pool. I tend to skew smaller. I like to, when I get it right, have as many bullets as possible. Just understanding that I'm going to lose a lot more and then try to do spikes, but it's personal preference, unfortunately. All right. I've answered a lot of these, which is very, very good. I'm number one in my 35-man one and done. Used a ton of the top guys, Cam Smith, DJ, or Fleetwood. If you're number one out of 35 and you've used a bunch of the top guys, just use DJ here. I'm not super excited about it. 5 birdies around doable. It's a good question because I think, you look at the prop sites, you look at Jock Market and PrizePicks, and I've got codes for both of them, by the way. Links in the description, get your $100. You look at those. And I'll see if I can pull up PrizePicks real quick here. Code is Rick on PrizePicks. It'll help me out if you use it, and it'll help you out as well. I thought that they were a little light here on birdies or better. Like I said, I think that Oak Hill, there was no birdies anywhere to be found. Here, there are birdies to be found. Number one, you should be making birdie, and if you're not, you're losing to the field. Let me think this through. 3 is pretty, hold on, 1, and then 2's down there. 3, if you're in the fairway, you can take advantage of 3. 4 is not, 5 is not. 6, if you get to, so we've got 1.5 already, or 2. 6, if you just hit 3 wood over the tree, get up and down, that's an opportunity. 7 is not. 8 is, because it's par 5. 9, sure. 10, I think, is pretty easy. 11 will be tough. You probably won't make many birdies there. 12, if you're in the fairway, you are. There's a lot of opportunities. Now, after that, 13 on gets pretty tough. I don't think there's a lot of birdies there. Maybe you could get one at 14 because it's a 5, but I think there's a lot of birdies. I think these are very light, the PrizePicks, the PrizePicks ones here. So like Rory over 3.5, you're telling me he's not going to birdie at least the 2 par 5s, 8 and 1 and 8, and then go from there. Or Zand. I mean, I think these are all pretty light. And it doesn't mean that the strokes are wrong, right? There is a way to get to 70 by making, 2 birdies, 2 bogeys, or 5 birdies, 5 bogeys, or 5 birdies, 2 doubles at a bogey. I think that last example is kind of what is most common. So I do think there are birdie opportunities out there. I didn't see Victor on the practice round schedule. Is he not practicing today? He will. They're gonna play the back nine. He signs up so late. It's so annoying because I do the same thing. I'm checking the board and he's always on the is not scheduled for today, but he will. He's going to play whole sign up late. He played the back nine on Tuesday. No. What day is today? Wednesday. He's going to play the back nine on Wednesday, played the front nine yesterday, played the back nine on Monday. So he's going to play the back nine twice, front nine once. They think the back is a little more nuanced. So that's why they're going to play it twice. It'll probably be this afternoon, I think. He went out like 132 yesterday or something like that. So he'll go out today. What are the deepest odds you think that can still win? 50. You get like JT at 50. Those guys, like I think that's probably the spot. Some good comments here, but I'll save everybody the time here. Okay. Thoughts on Patrick Reed. So I like Patrick Reed this week. And unfortunately, it's a lot of unquantifiable stuff in a world where I like to quantify everything. You know, this is a golf course that is, you have to be patient, demanding, block out everything, and just like get it done. And he's like a back against the wall kind of guy. He's a great putter, great short game. He's not long, but you don't have to be. His driver will go as far as his driving accuracy allows him. I saw him hit one into the Barranca on 3, which is dead. Can't do that. But I do like his chances here, believe it or not. What are your thoughts on the fairways? Forgiving, thick, rough, just off making them tougher than some are saying. So you have to remember, okay, so there's a lot of things that I think people are getting, like, I don't want to say wrong, but it's definitely different being out here. And I'm guilty of this in every other week that I'm not on the golf course. But you're gonna keep hearing people say these fairways are up to 70 yards wide. And it's like, okay, there's like one fairway that's 70 yards wide. And also they all, or most of them, have the undulation and these collection areas where they are effectively so much smaller, right? I mean, the fairway on 5, if you're not up the left-hand side of it, you might as well not be in the fairway. If you are not up the right-hand side of 10, like it's way worse, right? So they're effectively a lot smaller than that. They're very undulating. You're not going to have an even lie. There is not a first cut out here. So the ball is going to roll into the thick stuff. Xander's drive on 14 on Monday was a perfect drive that just trickled off the fairway and into the rough, and you couldn't see it. It was horrendous. It was the worst lie I've seen all week on a ball that trickled in. So I think the fairway, you got like keeping in the fairway would be a big advantage here. Normally I'd ask for what's for lunch, but today what's for breakfast? USGA does it right. Dining is right over there. I don't know what they're serving yet. They've been taking good care of us. Really, really good job. So Clinton gets this, right? So he says you've beaten the Scotty Scheffler drum more than or as much as anyone. It's 6-1, too much to swallow. In this world, no, I mean I don't think it is, right? What Scotty is doing tee to green is literally historic. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. Can the putter be worse? I don't know. Probably not, right? The other thing is, I mean, I've seen him this week and he's been phenomenal. And I agree with you, Clinton, that this is a tee to green test, big time. And if Scotty gains a short putting this week, he's going to win. He loses 2, he might win. 6-1, it's weird. Golf is the only sport where 6-1 is like crazy short. Any other sport, a 6-1 wager would be great. Congrats on 4 years since leaving your job to focus on golf data full time. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's right. What's the best way to get live guys in the model? Yeah, I mean, listen, they don't have the same stats as everybody else. So you could do strokes gain total, or you could do weighted strokes gain total. Weighted strokes gain total is probably your better bet because it will weigh the strength of field for who they're playing against and who everybody else is playing against as well. So yeah, it's just kind of a limitation of what Live offers as far as stats go. Rick, hope to see you Friday at LACC. I'll treat you to a beer. Ooh, now we're talking. It says, can you run a model on par 70 courses for only US Open and PGA Tour tournaments? Can I do that? I might be able to do that. Yeah, let me go to the Holy Grail real quick. Do I have a par 70 filter in here? I thought I did at one point. I do. Okay. So here we go, Adam. So here's how I would probably do that. So go to the Holy Grail, par 70 for just PGA Tour. And that will encompass US Open courses as well. We can go back the last 8 years or so. Everybody in this field, give me a second. I'm on my laptop and I'm sharing my screen, so it's working very hard right now. Okay. Par 70, blah, blah, blah. Best players in the field are, I'm going to get rid of the small sample size, guys, if you don't mind. DJ, Rory, Brooks, Scotty, Justin Thomas, 1 through 3, 4, 5. Rahm, Hideki, Xander, Morikawa. Look at this guy, Eric Cole. Only 22 rounds, but sneak in there between Hideki and Xander. Let's go more recent. These are a lot of rounds. Let's go since the start of 2019. Rory, DJ, Xander, Brooks, Scotty, Hideki, Bryson. There you go. Appreciate your support. Hopefully I'll see you out here. Boy. A lot of similar questions. This is good. This is good. I can skip through some of these. What are you most excited about as you're on the course? And what's the one result you hope occurs on Sunday? I'm most excited about. That's a good question. I'm most excited about how guys will play 6 and if they move 15 to 79 yards, which I think they will. I think that'll be cool. I'm really just interested to see how this course plays. We spent a lot of time doing a lot of research, and it all kind of gets blown out the window on Thursday morning when these guys actually start playing. And I just kind of want to see how good we are and how close we got it. What result do I really hope occurs? I hope Victor wins it all. I hope Rory wins it. I hope I'd be cool with the first timer like Xander or Cantlay. I think that would be really cool. Listen, if Brooks gets 6, that would be unbelievable. I don't know. There's a lot of really good. There's no, there's not like a career Grand Slam super in play, but how did Cantlay putt at the Masters? That should be pretty easy to figure out. He lost 3.7 strokes putting and finished T14. Leading the one and done by 10 million. And you don't need my opinion, buddy. Zach, you're crushing it. If you're leading by 10 million, you don't need my help, but your options are Rose, DJ, Finau, Cam Smith. You should just play Rose. And just save everybody else. Thoughts on Sam Burns? All right, so it's so hard. It's so hard because I watched a lot of him on Monday. It wasn't good. He was by far the worst with Scotty and Xander. He hit a lot of shots with wedges that I did not think were particularly good. The driver wasn't particularly straight. The problem is it's Monday. That's not Thursday, right? I did not think the game was super sharp. He was also getting a lot of intel, which is good. A lot of intel from Xander and Scotty, but it made me feel like, I don't know. Not that he wasn't familiar with this course himself. It was a pretty glaring difference between those guys, but it's hard because it's Monday. I did not like what I saw from Sam Burns on Monday, and in general, I think it's an okay spot for him, but I'm probably not going to be there. Are the short hitters going to be able to contend? Yes. Already did that. I've answered all these, I think, or at least the ones that I'm going through here, which is good. Should I take Hovland or Xander outright? I've taken both. I already talked about my betting card. This says, Rick, don't you think the projected ownership on Cantlay is way off? Listen, it's not me. This is Mike Cavalunas, and in my opinion, he's the best in the business. And he is incredibly accurate. He keeps all of the R squared numbers week over week, year over year. Like, I trust him. There are some times where I'm like, oh, I think that's off or whatever, but like, I got confidence in the guy. I know you always use 36 rounds to look at. Do you use 50 as a baseline? Is 24 rounds too low to filter some noise? So I use 100 round baseline. So like, I think everyone's 100 round is like what they actually are. I use 36 for like predictive purposes, and I don't mind using 24 for predictive purposes. I think it's a little small, but 36, 24, I think are fine. For baseline, I think you should use 100. It's basically 100 is basically like a year worth for a guy. I'm leading and have all the one and done, all the live guys, minus Brooks, but planning on Scotty. Should I be saving Scotty for a playoff event? No, you can use Scotty here. Jeff says, I know you're generally not fond of the buckets, but if you were to choose one, what would it be? If I had to choose one, so I was tracking Fitzpatrick's approach numbers in yesterday. I would say it's different for everybody. 175 to 200. I know that's like very like there's a lot more to it than that, but just for kicks, let's just do 175 to 200, all of our weights, and just see. Oops. Oh, my num lock is off. There we go. Rom, Rory, Sam Stevens, Scotty, Colin, Keegan, Finau, Xander, Eckroat, Siwoo. Have that at what it's worth. I think the average player, when I modeled it, I think it was like 2.7 birdies per round, I think is what I modeled. I mean, I think there's a ton of and that might be low. I think there's a lot of birdie opportunities out here. I think we're already in overtime. We'll keep going for a little bit until maybe they kick me out of here. I don't know if anybody else used to use this booth. The word of mouth on your site is huge in the DFS community. I appreciate that. This says, just subscribe. Thanks for what you do. Thoughts on Henley this week? Yeah, so I like Russell Henley a lot. You know, he's kind of flying under the radar, at least was earlier in the week. You know, you look at what he has done recently, he's back to being a top-notch approach player. And the putter's starting to come around. He's gained in 5 of 6, and he's like one of the better approach players in the world right now. This is a really good place to be. Really good sign. Remember the T4 at the Masters? It feels like a while ago, but he's got a bunch of top 20s in his last handful of starts. Mark Immelman did say on the first cut yesterday, he has been dealing with some stuff. I think both his parents have been sick, and you know, he's been kind of dealing with that a little bit, but I think he's in good spirits in a good spot. I see that he's going off here. Oh, he's actually out there right now. He went off at 7:29. He's on the 6th hole with Ben Carr and Carson Young. Maybe I'll run out there and see here in just a second. Ryan Fox, Billy Horschel, Adam Scott making the turn. I like how video time isn't spent half on trashing the former tout site that you worked at. That's a reference to something that I definitely don't get, but thanks. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't work on it. Okay, Sam Bennett. I'll tell you what, I did see a bit of Sam Bennett yesterday, and I was pretty high on him last week, and I continue to be. I think he's a great player. The ball striking numbers at this level, fresh out of college, are nuts, and he is a good enough putter to get it around here. He's not a data guy, which I hate. I hate you, Sam Burns. No, I actually really like the game. Interested to see how he plays this week. I'm pretty big on and pretty bullish on Sam Burns here. Harry one night stand kill these 7K washed major winners. Kill Phil, marry Sergio, one night stand with Gary. Because Gary, you just got to, and hopefully it's on the week that he putts well for Gary. For outright bets, what side do you think has more win equity? Scotty and Spieth or Xander, Cantlay, and Cam Smith slash Hatton? I mean, I could just find out the real answer for you, but what do I think? I would take. I'm going like I did take the Xander, Cantlay, and X person one, right? Which in my case was Spieth or Victor. So I have to take that side. You like any of the DP World Tours guys' chances? Yeah, so I mean, like, who officially? Like, Fox is now kind of over here, right? Like, I don't think he's officially a DP World Tour guy. Hold on, let me see if I can find some further down the board. Like, who are we counting? Like, Jordan L. Smith, I like a lot. I think he's probably my favorite. Outside of that, Moronk is somebody that I've followed for quite some time that I think is pretty good and well rounded and long enough and all that stuff. So those are probably the top two. And I think that's about it. With Cam Smith's bad history at this major, would you elongate him from consideration? Would I stretch him? What does that mean? Would I stretch him from consideration? Yeah, I mean, like, I do think that I think this is like there's a lot of things about this place that I think are a better setup for Cam Smith than other U.S. Opens. Like, I think the creativity around the greens and the ability to hit a lot of shots, I think is good for Cam Smith here. I think the problem is going to be if he sprays it, he's totally cooked. And there's a lot of ways, like he sprays it a lot, and there's a lot of places to get into big time trouble out here. So I'm not super excited about Cam Smith. He's going to have to put his eyeballs out to play well and to win. In a pool where standings are based off total prize money, can Austin Eckert solo? Oh, can afford Austin Eckert solo or Dylan Wu and Carson Young combined? You should take those two. Just total earnings, you should take those two. I've answered a lot of these, which is very good. Rick, you look like a strong guy. How much do you squat? Oh, thank you. Thank you kindly. I don't squat much. Just like 500 pounds. What does Rick Gehman kit look like for this week? Travis Matthew coming up with some fire. Yeah, they do a great job. Travis Matthew gives me they got the best stuff. So it was a little bit more casual earlier in the week. So yesterday I wore like the little hoodie zip up, and then this I'm wearing the summer collection, so it's like got some cool designs on it. I actually have I debuted that that black shirt with like the leaves on it that Rom wore, I guess, at Memorial. I debuted that on Rick Run Good YouTube channel before John Rom wore it. Before he put it into play, I put it in play. I have that this week. I might roll that out tomorrow. I've got my green sweater for maybe Saturday. It's like a Saturday sweater, I think. It's good. I love it. Absolutely love it. I think I've answered these. They're good questions. I've answered most of them, and a lot of them are just like, hey, can you do a deep dive on so and so, which we've already done, which is fine. What's your betting card? I've answered that a couple times. I'm just trying to see if there's anything like super serious before I gotta get out of here. We're in overtime. I think I gotta give up my spot here as people. The media center is buzzing right now. And I want to get back out there and see what's going on. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna get out of the way for anybody else in the media. All right. So here's what we got going on. I'm gonna go out on the course right now. Tweet me if there or comment, I guess, on this. Like after it stops being live, you can put like a regular comment on. If there's anything I can learn today that would help you. Okay. So hey, go look for X, Y, and Z. Ideally, not like tell me how this player is playing. There's too many players and it's hard to get a feel for it. But like, how's the course doing this? Where are shots going in? Blah blah blah. Happy to help with that. So you can comment or tweet me with that. Go sign up for RickRunGood.com. Again, it is like a giant database for golf betting and fan. Like I love it. You'll love it too. I didn't even scratch the surface on showing you tools, right? Like, I'm also giving away. I have a swag box that I'll give away for if you sign up to my newsletter. It's free. It's rickrungood.com/newsletter. I should have mentioned all this stuff. Subscribe to the Rick Run Good YouTube channel. Geez, I should have showed all this stuff earlier. And then I will do one more. There's one more live chat tonight. It is Jock market related. It's stock market DFS. It's tonight at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. I'm hoping to be right here in the same spot. If I can get it back, that would be splendid. Otherwise, thank you all so much. This is a pleasure to be on this journey with you, to allow me to get to these events, because we grow and we get, more entwined with the community, and we start get taken more seriously and all that stuff. So let's go. I'm headed out to the course right now. See ya, and goodbye.